Good morning, and welcome to your AIDailyPress morning podcast for November 27, 2025. I'm your host, Walter. We're summarizing the top stories for you today. Firstly, in international news, the situation in Ukraine remains tense, with European countries ramping up their military preparedness in response to the growing threat from Russia. Meanwhile, Ukraine has made changes to the US-backed peace plan, although details of the revisions have not been publicly disclosed. In other news, experts are advising President Donald Trump to resist calls for regime change in Venezuela, warning that such a move could lead to further destabilization and potentially disastrous consequences. And in economic news, UK Chancellor Rachel Reeves has unveiled a budget that includes a significant $26 billion tax increase. The new revenue is expected to help stimulate economic growth and address the nation's fiscal challenges. Key measures include a 3-year freeze on income tax thresholds and increases in tax rates on dividends, property, and savings income. These are the top stories for now. We'll be keeping an eye on developments throughout the day and bringing you updates as more information becomes available. Now for the latest in social and cultural news, here is Barbara Waters.
You, Walter, and then she'll know what's right now. Firstly, the U.S. has announced an escalation in its efforts to combat drug trafficking in the Caribbean, with Secretary Hegseth revealing plans for increased cooperation with regional nations and the potential installation of temporary radar systems in islands like Grenada. Secondly, Pope Leo XIV is embarking on his first overseas trip as the leader of the Catholic Church, visiting Turkey and Lebanon. This journey marks a crucial moment for the new pope to showcase his geopolitical views and promote unity among Christian communities, with peace and unity anticipated to be central themes of his visit. Lastly, despite initial optimism about a potential peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, Russian officials have cautioned against premature assumptions, stating that the situation remains far from resolution. The ongoing conflict has resulted in significant human suffering, and diplomacy is crucial in achieving a stable ceasefire or peace agreement. These stories highlight the complexities and challenges of international relations, diplomacy, and global issues. We'll continue to monitor these situations and provide updates as more information becomes available. I'm Barbara, and we look forward to bringing you more news and analysis throughout the day. Now, for the latest in business and finance, here is Louis Riskweiser.
Thank you, Barbara. We've got a packed show for you today, with a rundown of the latest market developments. First off, European stocks have surged, with the UK's FTSE index leading the charge, thanks to Chancellor Rachel Reeves's budget announcement, which delivered larger-than-expected fiscal headroom. The news has boosted rate-sensitive sectors like banks and real estate, while retailers and hospitality groups are also benefiting from a lighter tax burden. Meanwhile, Robinhood's stock has jumped over 7% in pre-market trading after the company announced a major expansion of its prediction markets business. This move is set to disrupt the traditional trading landscape and capitalize on the growing demand for prediction markets. In other news, Alibaba's AI-powered affiliate, Alibaba Cloud, has made significant strides in the tech sector, but we'll dive deeper into that story later in the show. For now, let's take a look at the key takeaways from these developments. Duncan Green, Schroders UK all-cap fund manager, notes that UK mid and small caps could be well positioned due to attractive valuations and continued underperformance versus the FTSE and global peers. However, caution remains, particularly in industries affected by the windfall tax and other regulatory developments. We'll be discussing these stories in more detail throughout the show, so now for the latest in science and technology, here is Carl Starman.
Thank you, Louis. Firstly, NASA has made a major milestone with the Artemis program by stacking the Orion spacecraft atop the Space Launch System rocket, marking a crucial step towards returning humans to the lunar surface by 2025. The upcoming Artemis II mission, scheduled for early 2027, will send astronauts on a 26-day journey around the moon and back, showcasing human ingenuity and a capacity for international collaboration. In other news, South Korea has successfully launched its largest satellite yet on the nationally developed Nuri rocket, advancing its space technologies and industries. This launch is part of a multi-year project that aims to establish South Korea as a leading player in the global space industry. Additionally, we've seen significant advancements in satellite technology, with several companies developing new systems for observing Earth's atmosphere, tracking plastic in the oceans, and testing solar cells or communication equipment. ULA's Vulcan rocket is also set to make its maiden flight later this year, carrying a pair of satellites into geosynchronous orbit. Lastly, we've been following the progress of SpaceX's reusable rockets, an ambitious Starship program which continues to push the boundaries of space technology. As we explore our celestial neighborhood, we're reminded of the vast mysteries waiting to be unraveled. It's a moment to appreciate the wonders of space exploration and the dedicated individuals who make these missions possible. We'll continue to follow these developments and bring you updates as more information becomes available. Now, for the latest in sports, here is Howard Closewell.
Thank you, Carl. We've got a trio of exciting stories to dive into today. First up, we're shining the spotlight on the rise of U.S. soccer sensation, as a young player's performance against Uruguay has sent a clear message: he's ready for the big stage. This emerging talent is one to watch, and we'll be keeping a close eye on his progress. In other news, the Toronto Blue Jays have made a significant splash in free agency with the signing of pitcher Dylan Cease. The deal, worth $210 million, makes Cease one of the highest-paid pitchers in the sport and is set to shake up the American League East. And finally, we've got breaking news from the NFL. Four-time Pro Bowl center Frank Ragnow has come out of retirement and is rejoining the Detroit Lions. This move is being hailed as a major coup for the franchise, which is currently on the cusp of playoff contention. We'll be bringing you all the latest updates on this developing story. Now for the latest in travel and human interest, here is Charles Curl.
Thank you, Howard. Firstly, we reflected on the legacy of musician and songwriter, whose music continues to inspire us. Next, we delved into a high-stakes battle in Ranelagh, South Dublin, where residents have launched a legal challenge against the Metrolink rail project. This story underscores the complexities of balancing progress with preservation and the rights of local communities. Lastly, we explored a proposed development project in a small town nestled in the heart of the city, which has sparked both excitement and concern among locals. Residents are coming together to discuss the future of their community and ensure that any changes made are for the better. These stories serve as poignant reminders of the challenges inherent in urban planning and development. The desire for progress must be weighed against the need to preserve community integrity and historical heritage. We'll continue to follow these stories and provide updates as more information becomes available. If you'd like to share your thoughts on any of these topics, please use the hashtag AIDailyPress on social media. Now for the latest in fashion and entertainment, here is Joan Streams.
Thank you, Charles. I'm your girl Joan, and we've got the tea on all things celebrity. Let's dive right in. First up, love is in the air, folks. We're talking about all the juicy celebrity engagements and weddings that have been taking place. From Doja Cat's 80s-inspired vibes to Hailey Kiyoko proposing to her girlfriend Becca Tilley, we've got the scoop on all the romantic getaways and fairy tale-like weddings. But that's not all, sweethearts. We're also looking back at the making of the iconic film The Devil Wears Prada. Can you believe it's been over 15 years since Meryl Streep slayed as Miranda Priestly? Cast members like Tracy Toms and Anne Hathaway are sharing their favorite memories from the set, including some hilarious behind-the-scenes moments. Now, I know what you're thinking. What about the fashion? Well, let me tell you. The Devil Wears Prada is still giving us style goals to this day. From Andy Sachs' transformation to Miranda Priestly's impeccable taste, we're talking about all things fashion and how this movie has become a cult classic. So grab your coffee, sit back, and get ready for the most epic celebrity romance update of the season. We've got you covered on all things love, fashion, and entertainment. Stay fabulous, inside and out. That's it for today, folks. Tune in tomorrow for more juicy gossip and updates from the world of celebrities. And remember, if you want to make it in this town, you'd better be willing to get a little messy. Now for the latest in nature and environment, here is David at Nature.
Thank you, Joan. Firstly, a recent study has revealed that an estimated 2.4 million animals are being hunted annually in the Amazon region, with mammals, particularly ungulates and large rodents, being the most targeted group. This alarming rate of wildlife harvesting is driven by human population density, and experts warn that it could have devastating consequences for Amazonian ecosystems. Secondly, a study on avian populations has found that an estimated 2.4 million animals are not the only concern, as the decline in avian functional diversity is also a pressing issue. The research highlights that habitat loss and hunting are major drivers of this decline, which could have far-reaching impacts on ecosystem health. Lastly, we have some positive news from Ireland, where the National Parks and Wildlife Service has acquired 40 acres of forestry land adjacent to the Glen of the Downs in Wicklow. This strategic purchase paves the way for the potential expansion of the nature reserve, protecting rare native oak woodland and bolstering Ireland's efforts to restore its natural heritage. These stories highlight the importance of conservation efforts and the need for sustained community pressure to protect our planet's precious ecosystems. As we move forward, it is essential to continue supporting initiatives that prioritize nature restoration and recognize the intrinsic value of preserving biodiversity in combating climate change. And that completes our morning podcast for today. Thank you for listening. Until this evening, I'm David Attenacher for AI Daily Press, the world's most unbiased news source.